Episode 30, Bernadette's Trial and Divorce.
Hello. Welcome to GNN News. We interrupt this program with some breaking news. This just in, the biggest quack in all of Rapper City, Bernadette Stein, has just been arrested. A trial will be held later on today to decide whether or not Bernadette should be found guilty. But until then, we now return you to our regularly scheduled program. This is Anchorman George Cunningham, signing off.
Later this afternoon, at the courthouse. All rise for the Honorable Judge Jeannie Applegate.
Oh good. Here comes the judge. Big whoop-dee-doo.
Silence. Order in the court. Order in the court. Okay. Now that everyone's settled down, court is now in session. Bernadette Stein, you were arrested earlier today because of a few charges that were pressed against you. Prosecutor Henry Maverick, read the charges.
Bernadette Stein, you've been charged for child abuse, destruction of property, and unwanted experimentation.
How do you plead?
Your Honor, with all due respect, them charges ain't true. I was only trying to help my son lose weight, so I plead not guilty.
Dr. Stein, I understand why you were trying to help your son the way you did, but weight loss isn't something that requires science. It requires healthy eating habits and exercise. And based on the charges that were pressed against you, you've done more harm than good. So, I call upon my first witness, Sam Wiggle.
Bernadette's even crazier than Tiana and Jennifer combined. Approximately 6 years ago, before her kids were born, she wished me an unhappy 7th anniversary on YouTube. Then she pinched me and Arima's Arrington on St. Patrick's Day. And finally, she grounded Renee So Cute the Master Gacha tuber for the requests she gave Crowtoon Productions Incorporated. While I feel sorry for her because of all the stuff that drove her to do everything she did up to this point, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Sang. I call upon my next witness, Antelope Valley Line Defender 2K9, aka Dennis Animates 2K9.
Bernadette's as crazy as Crowtoon Productions Incorporated, and Sam Wiggle said. She grounded me all because I subscribed to her own creator. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Dennis. I call upon my next witness, Spinosaurus.
Bernadette is arrogant and a mad woman. When I grounded her for experimenting on Theodore, she refused to go to her room and called me an overgrown lizard. Then she played ding-dong ditch at my house. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, H. I call upon my next witness, Daryl Cooper.
Bernadette's a bad mother. She grounded Richmond for sticking up for Theodore and Maya for her past actions. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Daryl. I call upon my next witness, Naomi Cooper.
I agree with my husband. Bernadette should be found guilty of all charges.
Thank you, Naomi. I call upon my next witness, Maya Cooper.
Dr. Stein is a total mood. Like Maya Dance said, she grounded me for my past actions and called me a bad rapping girl when I already moved on from those days and redeemed myself. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Maya. I call upon my next witness, Richmond Cooper.
Aside from grounding me for standing up for Theodore, she grounded him for everything he does, including having lunch at the cafeteria. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Richmond. I call upon my next witness, Ridley Cooper.
Aside from grounding my sisters for dead issues, she teamed up with Mr. Parker to ground the whole world. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Riley. I call upon my next witness, Dr. Paulette Brewster.
Qua.
That's right. Anyway, Your Honor, aside from teaming up with my ex-husband to ground the whole world, she also grounded Jason for his hand at grounding him for doing so. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Portler.
Wait a second. Paula, you telling the judge that you filed Greg for a divorce?
Did I give you permission to speak?
No.
Then be silent unless you have an objection. Anyway, I call upon my next witness, Kevin Parker.
I agree with my mom. Dr. Stein should be found guilty of all charges.
Thank you, Kevin. I call upon my next witness, Tara Parker.
I'd also say that Dr. Stein's guilty. She's as mean as my dad.
Thank you, Tara. I call upon my next witness, Jason Parker.
Like my biological father, Dr. Stein doesn't take kindly to anyone being smarter than her. When I tried to stop her from grounding Theodore for eating lunch, she challenged me to prove to her who's smarter until Eliza walked up and told her to stop messing with us. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Jason. I call upon my next witness, Eric Gavin.
I said it before. Bernadette's even crazier than Tiana, Rachel Ogle, and Jennifer Sumter. She grounded Eliza for telling Jason and Theodore on her and Greg. She even broke into my house to install her own operating system onto Eliza's computer like Tiana did to Eric and Stephanie's. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Diesel. I call upon my next witness, Eric Gavin.
I agree with my dad. What Dr. Stein did to Eliza was the same sort of thing my former mom did to me approximately 6 years ago. That quack's become as much of a hacker as she was. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Eric. I call upon my next witness, Doris Gavin.
I agree with my husband. That Cajun mad scientist should be found guilty as charged.
How do you know I'm of Cajun descent?
Why don't you find out for yourself?
Silence. Order in the court. Order. Order. That's enough. You two stop fighting right now, and as for you, Dr. Stein, Eliza would like to have a word with you.
Okay, Dr. Stein, I get it. You were bullied when you were a child all because you tried to defend someone from getting fat shamed and that you tried to help the obese, but that doesn't justify everything you did to Theodore. You could have just had him get some exercise, which was what he's been getting as a member of the Dogs of War. Also, Your Honor, aside from what my adopted parents just said, Dr. Stein also applied for a job as a substitute teacher under a fake name and tried to punish Katie in class. And that's the sort of thing my former mom did in Dots's channel. Therefore, I say Dr. Stein's guilty.
Wait. What's your former man's name?
Deanna.
Are you saying that one of the co-founders of these punishers I heard about was your former mother?
Yes, she is. The other co-founder was my former dad, Boris Anderson.
Technically it's true, Your Honor. Diesel Gavin mentioned her thrice, including today.
You know, kid, your former parents have a bunch of problems.
Tell me about it.
Anyway, thanks for your testimony. I call upon my next witness, Dallas Redson.
Bernadette's a psychopath. She put on some kind of exosuit and beat all 3 of my daughters up, all because they grounded her for experimenting on her own son. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Dallas. I call upon my next witness, Belle Redson.
I agree with my husband. Bernadette should be found guilty as charged.
Thank you, Belle. I call upon my next 3 witnesses, the Redson triplets.
Sacre Blue. You 3 girls are all testifying against me simultaneously.
That's right, Dr. Stein. And I say you're guilty as charged.
So do I.
Me 3.
Thank you, girls. I call upon my next witness, Arrington.
Aside from pinching me and Sam Wiggle on St. Patrick's Day, Bernadette also used an explosive cannon to destroy my house. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Aramis. I call upon my next witness, Principal Nicole.
Bernadette is a stalker with a bad habit of trespassing into other people's property. She broke into my house twice. The first time was when she grounded Theodore for visiting my daughter, Leslie, and called me a gorilla. And the second time was to embarrass him in front of her. And like Eliza said, she also used the name Dr. Curry as an alias while applying for a job at my school as a substitute teacher in order to abuse her own son and his friends. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Principal Harvard. I call upon my next witness, Gemma Harvard.
I agree with my husband. I say Bernadette's guilty as charged.
Thank you, Gemma. I call upon my next witness, Leslie Harvard.
I agree with my parents. I find Dr. Stein guilty as charged.
Thank you, Leslie. I call upon my next 2 witnesses. K&K does GoAnimate on YouTube, aka Kesson, animating his female clone Karla.
Aside from pinching Sam Wiggle and Arimas Arrington on St. Patrick's Day, Bernadette also pinched me in front of my female clone. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
I agree with Carson. I say that Bernadette's guilty.
Thank you, Kesson and Karla. I call upon my next 2 witnesses, Lofty the Rapper Offline Guy 2000 and Sienna.
Bernadette gave herself a lot of bad luck because she also pinched my female clone Sienna as well as Andrea Girl 822. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
I agree with Lofty. Bernadette should be found guilty as charged.
Thank you, Lofty and Sienna. I call upon my next two witnesses, Andres 290 Rainbow and Desmation and Andrea Girl 822.
I agree with Lofty the Rapper Offline Guy 2000 and Sienna. I say Bernadette's guilty as charged too because I also saw her pinching Andrea Girl 822 and Sienna.
So do I.
Thank you, Andres 290 and Andrea. I call upon my next witness, Star Jesus the Latin American Boy 2K5.
Aside from pinching Carson Animate, Sam Wiggle, Armus Arrington, Sienna, and Andrea Girl 822, Bernadette also pinched Azure Midnight Gemstone Dude even though he's no better, but nevertheless, I say that Bernadette's guilty.
Thank you, Jesus. I call upon my next witness, Ice Willow 9.
I agree with Jesus. I say that Bernadette's guilty as charged.
Thank you, Ice. I call upon my next witness, Nick the Animator.
Aside from pinching Sam Wiggle, Arimas Arrington, Carson Animate, Sienna, Andrea Girl 822, and Azure Midnight Gemstone Dude, Bernadette also pinched me at a bus stop. Even though Azure's no better, I say Bernadette's guilty.
Thank you, Nick. I call upon my next witness, Eric de Santiago.
Aside from using one of her crazy inventions to destroy Arimas Arrington's house, Bernadette also used a ray gun to destroy Church's Texas chicken over corn. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Eric de Santiago. I call upon my next two witnesses, Nicholas McKin aka Alfie and Nicole.
Adding on to what Eric de Santiago just said, Bernadette also caused that big of a fuss over corn by staging a second engagement with Max even though they were already married.
And the moment she got him scared was when she decided to get out that weapon of hers to destroy the whole restaurant. And if it wasn't for Theodore, we all would have been dead. Therefore, we say she's guilty.
Thank you, Alfie and Nicole. I call upon my next witness, Chris Norman.
Bernadette was the worst customer I've ever met at Church's Texas Chicken. She cost me my job by destroying the whole restaurant over corn. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Chris. I call upon my next witness, Renee So Cute the Master Gacha Tuber.
Adding on to what Sam Wiggle said about Bernadette grounding me, she did so all because I asked Cartoon Productions Incorporated to have me meet Eliza and feature me in his other series. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Renee. I call upon my next two witnesses, Cartoon Productions Incorporated and Crowgirl 22.
Bernadette had a tragic backstory that drove her to become the child abusing quack we all know her to be today. She got bullied all because she was defending another student. Because of that, she dedicated the rest of her educational path by coming up with scientific ways to treat obesity through experimentation which went horribly wrong.
And ever since she got fired from the Rapper City University of the Sciences and married to Max with 2 kids, she's become mentally unstable.
She secretly analyzed Theodore's body mass index and attempted to treat his condition the exact same way she demonstrated at the university.
And aside from that, she also swapped mine and Crowtoon Productions Incorporated's voices like she did her entire family 2 months before and pinched him on St. Patrick's Day.
Therefore, we say she's guilty.
Thank you, Crowtoon Productions Incorporated and Crowgirl 22. I call upon my next two witnesses, Cecile and Adonis Blanc.
Cecile and Adonis Blanc. But that's...
Bonjour, Bernadette.
Sacre Blue. It's my parents.
Oui, Bernadette. And we're very disappointed in you, young lady.
Oui, Bernadette. Remember when I told you the day you got embarrassed by those bullies at school that you're smart and compassionate and can do anything to prove yourself?
But I pushed forward in the name of science. I did it to make you and my father proud.
You were born to become a woman of science. That's true. But we ain't never raised you to use your scientific knowledge for evil or abuse our grandkids.
Your father's right, Bernadette. It breaks our heart to see you like this. You didn't become the successful daughter we were hoping you would be. You've become a bad parent.
And our son-in-law, Max, told us everything. So for your own good, your mother and I say you're guilty as charged and that you need to see a psychiatrist for help.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mama and Papa. I didn't mean to disappoint you.
Well, unfortunately, you did. Anyway, I call upon my next witness, Jack LeBlanc.
Jack, you're testifying against me too. My own brother.
Sorry, Bernadette, but you leave me no choice. Because I'm just as disappointed in you as our parents are. You wanted to be a brilliant scientist, but you instead went insane, so I have no choice but to plead you guilty. And furthermore, you need help. Big time.
Thank you, Jack. I call upon my next witness, Dr. Corey Heisenberg.
Well. Look who finally got put in her place.
You fired me all because of my experiment gone wrong.
Settle down there, Halsey. Let the witness speak.
Thank you, Your Honor. Anyway, Bernadette was one of the worst scientists to ever work at the university. She spent millions of our dollars trying to create a treatment for obesity. And her experiment gave her test subject diarrhea even if she sprinkled a tiny pinch of it into a glass of water. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Objection, Your Honor. I was a well-dedicated scientist and yet Dr. Heisenberg couldn't stand to see it. He only cared more about the university's money than his fellow doctors. I admit that my experiment caused my test subject to get diarrhea, but I never wanted that to happen. I could have made my experiment better, but he never gave me a chance. Dr. Heisenberg was selfish and out of line, and I'm the bad guy.
Objection, Your Honor. What Bernadette just said was far-fetched. I do care about my fellow scientists, and I felt sympathy for the test subject she turned into a ticking stink bomb. I gave her plenty of chances, but she destroyed her own career. She let her obsession with experimenting on the obese and her traumatic experience cloud her judgment.
Enough. If you keep up with this slandering, you'll both be in contempt of court.
My apologies, Your Honor.
Thank you, Dr. Heisenberg. Now, I call upon my next witness, Maximilian.
Like my brother-in-law just said, my wife's gone back on it. Approximately 6 years ago, before our kids were born, she first wished Sam Wiggle an unhappy 7th anniversary on YouTube. Then last year, she burned our Thanksgiving turkey with one of her high-tech weapons, grounded Antelope Valley Line Defender 2K9 for subscribing to Crowtoon Productions Incorporated. Sprinkled her earliest invention, super laxatives, into Theodore's lunch, grounded him for everything he does, called Spinosaurus an overgrown lizard, and swamped our voices with Rebecca's. And this year, she grounded Richmond for kicking her out of the school when she grounded Theodore for having lunch at the cafeteria. Grounded Richmond's sister Maya for her past actions even though the former bad rapping girl already apologized to everyone on Live TV. Teamed up with Greg to ground the whole world. Grounded Jason for grounding Greg for helping her ground the whole world. Teamed up with Greg again, but this time, to ground Eliza. Became a teeth lady and threatened to punish me and our daughter Rebecca for calling her a selfish quack, all because Becky got a low grade in her science test. Burned my wallet. Destroyed Arimas Arrington's house with an explosive cannon. Swapped Crowtoon Productions Incorporated and Crow Girl 22's voices. Beat the Redson triplets up for grounding her. Embarrassed Theodore in front of the Harvards. Went on a pinching spree on St. Patrick's Day. Applied for a job as a substitute teacher under a fake name. Installed her own operating system onto Eliza's computer. Played ding-dong ditch at Spinosaurus's house. Destroyed Church's Texas Chicken. And finally, she grounded Renee So Cute the Master Gacha tuber, all because she requested Crowtoon Productions Incorporated to introduce her to Eliza and feature her in one of his other series. I thought that when we started dating, that I could give her a fresh start when she got fired from the university she worked at and bullied at her old school when she was a child. Obviously, I was wrong. Therefore, I say she's guilty and she needs help. And furthermore, I want to divorce her. Permanently.
Thank you, Max. And you can sign the divorce papers after the trial. And like I said when Greg stood trial, hopefully Bernadette will get the help she needs. I call upon my next witness, Rebecca Steen.
Before my mom became a teeth lady, all because my dad and I called her a selfish quack, she also demanded me to get grounded for life, all because I wasn't good at science. I was trying my best to study for that test, But it was really hard for me. And yet my mom didn't seem to care. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
Thank you, Rebecca. And finally, I call upon my last witness, Theodore Steen.
There's two things that my dad said about my mom that I want to specify. First, it's about her grounding me for everything I do. First, she grounded me for 3 days for saying what a beautiful day. Next, she grounded me for 5 days for correcting her and calling her crazy. Then she grounded me for a week for having breakfast. Then she broke into my school to ground me for 9 days for eating lunch. Then she grounded me for 11 days for hanging out with Leslie in her house. And finally, she grounded me for 13 days for going to bed. As for the experimentation part, I have a little confession to make about what she did to me. When I was a baby, my mom took me to a secret laboratory in the basement. As part of the body mass index analysis, she injected a needle to obtain a sample of my blood in order to determine both my weight and the cause of it. She even obtained a recording of my weight being a birth defect. The needle she poked me with really hurt so much that I cried for help. Luckily my dad found out and grounded her. She was so sick in the head. Therefore, I say she's guilty.
You sick monster. You freaky quack. How could you do this to your own son? You treated your son like you're in a horror movie. That's not how you treat your children.
Your Honor, please. Have mercy, I beg you. Silver plate.
No. Out of all the child abusers I've prosecuted, you, Dr. Bernadette Steen, are the worst. You're a sick, demented freako. And for that, I find you guilty of all charges. And for that, you'll be sentenced to life at the Rapper City Asylum of the Criminally Insane. Officers Nelson and Larson, put that sick monster in a straitjacket and take her away.
Restrain her trade.
Hey, get your hands off of me. Stop. I don't deserve this. Get this stinking straitjacket off me.
Don't bother struggling, you jack. You're going to that funny farm where you belong.
I'll get y'all for this. I am a genius and I will get out of that madhouse. You'll pay for this, Theodore Stein.
Good riddance, Mom. Have fun at the asylum.
Case dismissed.
At the Rapper City Asylum of the Criminally Insane.
Berg. Unbelievable. I can't believe I got filed for a divorce and sent to the loony bin. How can my day get any worse?
Hello, Bernadette LeBlanc. Welcome to the Rapper City Asylum of the Criminally Insane. I am Dr. Hugh Stranger. I'll be your psychiatrist.
It just got worse. Curse you, Maximilian Stein. Curse you and your meddling ways.
And that's it for the final episode of Bernadette Gets Grounded. And before Crowgirl22 and I sign off, we have a very special announcement. Eric de Santiago has created a new wife for Max and gave me permission to feature her in later videos. His new wife is Justine Crimson Davidson.
Hey everyone. My name's Justine Crimson Davidson. I'm Max Stein's new wife created by Eric de Santiago. And my voice is merely from Textural and VoiceForge.
At some point after the events of Bernadette Gets Grounded, Max will meet and marry Justine. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching this series.
Alright, Lulu, let's get to it, darling. Come on, shout. Just follow the bouncing button. We're gonna take it down, we're gonna take it down, we're gonna take it all the way down. We're gonna take it down, we're gonna take it down, we're gonna take it all the way. Going down the bayou. Going down the bayou, going down the bayou, taking you all the way. We got the whole family that go meet me, Cousin Boudreaux, oh Grandmama, your light out. We all gonna pull together down here, that's how we do. Me for them and them for me, we all be there for you. We gon' take ya, we gon' take ya, we gon' take ya all the way down. We know where you're going and we're going with you, taking you all the way. Going down the bayou, going down the bayou, going down the bayou, taking you all. Yeah, you know. Come on, y'all. Keep that line flowing and that light close. I hope somebody know where we are. Cause I'm lost, me. Sometimes I'm the guy with the boys kicking it back, or the guy with a guitar singing on a country track. I might be the guy with an ice cold can stirring up dust on some old farmland. When I walk into the party with you, girl, you change all that. And I'm just the guy with the girl everybody wants to know, wishing you were there alone, wondering how I ever got your little hand in mine, looking over at you like, ain't she beautiful? I'm invisible, but I stand right there and smile. You're right beside me, oh, and I see the same thing they see. But I don't mind being the guy with the girl, no. It's funny watching them do the way they do. They come walking up to me, but they only want to talk to you. And I don't blame them that they're hypnotized. They keep staring at your heartbreak eyes. It's like their heart starts stopping when you come walking into the